Okay, so we have the whole value range here that we did with pencil. What we're going to try to do is choose whatever color that you want to use for your watercolor painting. Remember, it's going to be monochromatic, so just stick with one color. In this case, I think I might use purple. Make sure you have water nearby and a brush. And then what we're going to try to do is a monochromatic value scale, just using one color of watercolor alongside of our pencil drawing. So you can kind of draw the parallels of light to dark with it, using a color and paint. So you basically get your brush wet with water and then go ahead and use the paintbrush and swirl it around a little bit inside your watercolor cake. And notice that it becomes a little bit soupy. What you can do is either inside your lid, just move it over a little bit, and inside your clear lid or white lid, you can create different values depending how much water you add. If you add more water, it'll become a lighter purple. So let's try adding a lot of water and making a very light color. You might pick a different shade or color than I do. And then we're going to try to make the lightest value of purple, and kind of just holding your brush like a pencil, go ahead, and you may not even be able to see this on the video because it's so light, but I just made a very light value of purple on the first square. Now, since we just painted here, I'm going to actually skip this block, the next block. The reason being is if I paint really closely to an edge of something wet that I just painted, it's gonna smear together. So I'm actually gonna skip ahead one. I can always come back to this. I'm gonna get a little bit more pigment from my purple and add it to my water blob over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint it in. And notice I'm holding my brush like a pencil. One technique that some artists like to do is to paint the edge of the square or the shape first and then fill it in. So then I'm obviously going to skip a space and then keep going up to the darker values. Now, it's kind of good to work this way because I'm going to get a little bit more. You're just skipping some, and then you have to go back and then figure out what has to be darker, what has to be lighter, which is probably something you experienced when you were doing the value scale with pencil. We're going to do the same thing with watercolor. Now, if you're going to go back in and do them all, so you have light purple or whatever color you have fading into dark color all the way at the very end value here, if you can see it on the screen. And then if you mess up, it's okay, because guess what? We have a lot of other blocks and rows that you can practice doing your light to dark watercolor color or a tint or a shade, depending on what you want to call it. And you can take a photo of this once you're completely finished and it's dry. Once these couple blocks are dry, I can go back in and put the rest of the value scale in, and I will try to post a picture of the final piece of that before we go on to the next step. So submit a picture of yours when it's completely finished.